called Hot Under the Collar. Please welcome controversial columnist and best-selling author Ann Coulter. Her new book is entitled Demonic. Ann said some outrageous comments about single mothers. And Ann, I really want to welcome you, but I don't get this about the single mothers. They should give up their kids for adoption.
Oh, definitely. That's what the statistics are. I mean, not once they're 14, but a woman who gets pregnant out of wedlock, if she wants to do the best thing for the child, it is overwhelming. She should give the child up for adoption because the statistics, both from the left and the right, are overwhelming on what happens to illegitimate children. About 70% of juvenile delinquents, teenage runaways, pregnancies out of wedlock are committed by the children of single mothers. If you were in the womb right now and you could choose whether to be black, white, rich, poor, the one thing you should hope for as a child in the womb is my parents are married.
Okay, I understand that that gives stability and all kinds of emotional strength to a child. What I don't get, though, is that we're singling out the single mothers, pardon the redundancy, but we're not talking about these absent fathers.
Well,
where are these absent guys? I mean, these moms are doing a heroic job. I mean, they're out there, they're working sometimes 2 jobs, they're getting their kids through school, they're feeding them, and the dads are nowhere to be found and nobody's attacking them.
No one's celebrating them either. I am responding to a culture out of Hollywood, the courts, the elite media that is promoting single motherhood. They are not promoting single fatherhood or deadbeat dads.
What do you say to women who say, you are demonizing single moms?
All I'm doing is citing statistics. What works is the nuclear family. Now, sometimes that isn't going to happen. I mean, I do make a point of saying...
it's not going to happen. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm hot under the collar.
Well,
there's so many great moms that are trying to be mom and dad to their kids. I know that they cannot be emotionally mom and dad.
Well,
but they really are going out of their way to provide for their kids.
Look, it's one thing, as I say, a single mother is something different from a divorced mother. Single mother specifically refers to a woman who, A, gets pregnant out of wedlock, and B, decides, for narcissistic reasons, I'm going to keep this child for myself, because if she cares what's best for the child, she will give the child up for adoption, and that is a fact.
Don't you think that's very judgmental? I think, it's a fact. I think you're talking about maybe the Casey Anthonys of the world, you know, where there's all this neglect that we can all see. Obviously, the jury did not see it, but there's a lot of controversy with mothers that are that way, that go out and party, that do this, that do that, and are not really responsible for their children. But a lot of single moms are being responsible with their children.
And yet, the statistics still are, if you look at it from the end of the spectrum of who ends up in jail, who ends up a murderer, who ends up a teenage runaway, who ends up getting pregnant out of wedlock herself, who ends up a rapist, about 70%, according to both the Village Voice and all these conservative pro-family groups, are going to be the children of single mothers. I mean, that is simply a fact. Now, imagine in America with 70% fewer teenage runaways, fewer teenage murders, fewer teenage drug addicts, fewer teenage pregnancies. That's what single mothers have created. And like I say, if you want what's best for your child, if you are pregnant out of wedlock, either marry the father, and by the way, shotgun marriages used to work just fine, but we've gotten rid of the stigma of a woman having a child out of wedlock.
But the problem is, it's good to get rid of those stigmas, because we would put people always in a box. You know, this is the way you have to be, this is the way it works out.
And
you know, this is not an ideal world, and you're talking about an ideal world. Oh, in an ideal world, by the way, everyone has a mom and dad. We're going back, you know, to the days of happy days. You know, most of our young people don't know what that is.
When the kids turned out a lot better.
Well,
and they were given every advantage in life. Stigmas are good things. Look, we have a stigma against smokers.
Who are the single mothers of today?
Smoking is bad for you.
But
smoking is not as bad for you as being raised by a single mother. And yet, we do have stigmas, and they're good things. Stigmas against smoking, and yet smoking is not as bad for you as single motherhood. And there ought to be
How do you come to that conclusion?
I've just cited the statistics over and over again.
One kills you. We know that smoking kills you.
One destroys a life.
You don't think smoking destroys lives?
maybe when you're 70, you have an increased chance of getting lung cancer. You're talking about what happens to children when they are not raised with a mother and father. Basically, every women's magazine is talking about, single mothers by choice, where women go and get artificially inseminated because they decide, oh, my clock is ticking, I want to have a baby, I don't care if I found a man in time. That is narcissistic, it is selfish, and it is not taking the interests of the child at heart at all. And you don't hear that coming from anybody else, so I am the counterweight citing the facts on single motherhood. Sometimes it happens, I wish them the best, but...
And I can't imagine how much hate mail you've gotten from single mothers.
That's funny that you think I read my mail.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think that when you say things like that and you kind of make these blanket statements based on statistics, I say to myself, gosh, I know so many good single mothers, so many heroic single mothers. I just can't agree with you on that. I really can't.
I wish them the best in their particular circumstance, but for everyone to keep their lips zipped, that's why you end up with an illegitimacy rate that has gone through the roof and is harming children and is creating two separate classes in America.
She's certainly controversial, my friends. We're going to take a break. This is the new book, Demonic, by Ann Coulter. And even though I'm more hot under the collar now, we'll be back with Ann.
Extreme parenting.
I want to prep them.
Giving alcohol to minors.
10 years old?
And letting her 16-year-old son have sex.
You provide condoms at home.
Have these parents gone too far?
Kids are going to do it.
Why do it at home? Why feed the fire?
On the next Father Albert.
We're back with the always controversial Ann Coulter, and this audience wants to get in on this conversation.
My first question is for you. Do you have any children?
Not relevant to statistics.
Okay, because for me, I've seen, not only my family, I have a ton of friends who are single mothers, and the way they raise their children, they give them the most love than even two parents can give them. I'm raising a family with two parents, and you know, you don't know what it's like sometimes to have two parents. Sometimes, some people, it's worse to have two parents. I agree. You'd rather have just one parent who gives you all that love than two parents who are constantly arguing, who they've been together for years and they're miserable. And you can't speak for everybody. You're speaking about statistics.
Right.
You have to live it in order to understand it, not just by statistics.
And sometimes Derek Jeter strikes out. And yet, he's still a great baseball player because we look at overall how many times at bats, how many times a home run. When you have 70% of the children in juvenile delinquent institutions coming from single-parent homes, yes, I'm sure some single mothers do a terrific job, and I'm sure there are some two parents who do a terrible job. And yet, the statistics are the statistics.
And we have more from the audience.
You keep saying, you know, statistics, but anybody can make up a statistic.
That's why there's so many of them, from both the left and from the right, and for 30 years
Where do you
now.
think it's okay to say all this?
Okay,
I mean,
you know what, you may as well stand up.
My mother was a single mom, and I'm getting, like, emotional.
That's fine. You're saying what you feel.
I can't talk now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you may as well stand up and say, I'm a smoker and I'm very upset about the smoking statistics, and don't you tell me about lung cancer. The statistics are the statistics.
Be nice. She's talking about something important to her.
So is smoking, and people dying of smoking, and so is people being raised by single mothers.
I don't understand.
Standing up and saying, I'm a single mother and you can't say that is not an argument.
Tell her about your mom.
I didn't say that I was a single mother. I come from a single family.
Okay,
I'm not a
rapist.
I'm not a murderer.
Don't yell at me about what the smoking statistics are.
We're not talking about smoking, lady. We're talking about single parents. We're talking about something far more important than smoking, I feel.
Yes, as I said, it's more damaging to a child.
So for you to even put those two together is ridiculous. I know you're saying this stuff, but do you think about it before you say it?
No, just shoot off at the mouth. It's a chapter of my last book. It has the studies there if you're interested. It is study after study. No, I'm just shooting off the top of my head what comes into my mind.
Actually, I'm a minor,
And I come from a single family, single mother, okay? And I was raised really well. I'm doing really well. I'm going to school. I'm doing what I need to do to make it in life, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably be making more money than you, only because I'm not just famous for stating a horrible opinion, not a statistic.
Look, the point is not what has happened to children who have been raised by single mothers already. Wish you the best. The point is to influence choices going forward.
But
now,
Ann, are you serious about this? Because everyone here is outraged in this audience. I mean, you are citing statistics. I know that they're credible, but what we're hearing here is you've kind of focused this approach. You know, anti-single mothers. Do you really believe all of that stuff?
Who's the Christian here, Father? I care about the children. I care about how they are raised. And for you to be encouraging women to have children out of wedlock and discouraging them from being sent to nice adoptive homes, I find shocking.
First of all, you are nobody to pass judgment because half of us didn't even know who you were until today. Second, I am a single mother. And I am a great parent. I own a business. I go to school full time. My daughter is smart. She is happy. I'm a mother and a father. And I am great parents. We should be questioning how well adjusted you are.
First of all, I agree with what the girl just said, and I'm a single mother as well. I have a 15-year-old daughter.
We can talk to Ann without the personal attacks, right? I think we need to be balanced here and not take it from one extreme to the other, because then, you know, we're blaming her for doing something that now we're doing ourselves, and we're going back and forth. And perhaps part of the problem we have in our society today is we can't debate and talk to people who think differently than we do. And that's part of the issue here. Yes.
Okay, with that said, I am a single-year-old daughter, private school, ever since she was in the kindergarten. I hold it down, no welfare, no nothing. I work full-time. She goes to school full-time. She wants to go to Harvard, distinguished honor roll. I mean, so is that directed towards me being a single mother as well? I come from a two-parent family myself, but I do very well with my child, no help, just me, and I do own a business as well.
And the father was totally absent.
What father?
See, Ann, this is my issue, and I think that we've talked about this during the break. I was asking you, what about all these absent dads? Do you ever say anything about them?
I think I've answered that. We don't have a society and a culture that celebrates them and encourages fathers to leave the women they have impregnated. When you start having movies and glamour magazines and the court system glamorizing deadbeat dads, but in fact we call them deadbeat dads. And I wish single mothers all the luck in the world. Very helpful having you all stand up and insult me. You are proving to me that you are fantastic mothers.
Okay, A, I don't know where you're getting your statistics. B, I think if you're not the one carrying that child for 9 months and feeling that baby kick inside you, you know, it's easy for you to say when you're not that person carrying that baby. And C, my mom was a single mom. I never met my dad. He went bye-bye. Never met him. She raised me. She was the mom. She was the dad. I never wanted for anything. She gave me everything I had. I am 36 years old. I have a family of my own now. I have a 12-year-old, and I'm back in school now. I'm very successful, so I really don't know where you're getting this.
I just don't know how you expect me to answer when I have a full chapter of this book with every footnote telling you where I got it. You want to know where I got it? You can look up the studies. I mean, you can stand up, find your own study, but there isn't one.
Okay, I want to thank you, Ann, for being with us. I know that everything that has gone on here is very controversial. We're listening to different opinions, and obviously Ann's new book is demonic. Controversial too, once again, and we want to thank you for being here with us and taking the time to be on Father Albert today. And now, my friends, I want to hear your thoughts. Go to FatherAlbertShow.com and check out our homepage. We'll be right back.